The Nintendo Switch has one of the best RPG libraries of any console ever made. Whether you're into turn-based combat, open-world adventures, or story-heavy experiences, there's something on this list for you. These are the 20 best RPGs you can play on Nintendo Switch right now. Let's get into it. Sea of Stars is a turn-based RPG from Sabotage Studio that clearly draws inspiration from classics like Chrono Trigger and Super Mario RPG. You follow Zale and Valir, two warriors of the solstice able to use eclipse magic, the only force capable of stopping the creations of the Fleshmancer. The journey takes you across varied regions, filled with memorable characters and story moments that balance light adventure with emotional depth. Combat stays engaging by letting you time inputs to boost attacks or reduce damage, break enemy locks with specific elements, and trigger combo skills with allies. There are no random encounters, as battles happen seamlessly in the world. Outside combat, you explore, climb, fish, cook, sail, and even play a tavern card game called Wheels. The game doesn't reinvent the genre, but it delivers a polished, confident experience. If you've ever played Baldur's Gate 3, you already know Larian Studios and Divinity Original Sin 2 is the game that showed everyone what they were capable of. Set in the fantasy world of Rivellon, you play as a sorcerer, someone who can wield a powerful and forbidden magic called Source. The divine is dead. The barrier between the world and a place called the Void is crumbling, and terrifying creatures are starting to pour through. You're captured early on and sent to a prison island, and what unfolds from there is 80+ hours of some of the most reactive, consequence-heavy RPG storytelling ever made. You can create a custom character or pick from 6 origin characters, each with their own backstory and personal quests woven right into the main story. Combat is turn-based and tactical. You manage physical armor and magical armor separately, use the environment against enemies, chain skills together, and think carefully about positioning.
Bleeding dwarves did me so much.
Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen is Capcom's action RPG that came out in 2012 and still feels unlike anything else out there. The story begins with a dragon appearing out of nowhere and tearing out the heart of your character, leaving you alive but fundamentally changed. You're now called the Arisen, someone destined to hunt down the dragon and reclaim what was taken. You travel across the kingdom of Grancis, heading to the capital city of Grand Sorin, where you meet the current ruler who was once an Arisen himself. The story slowly reveals there's a lot more going on beneath the surface of this world than it first appears, and the side quests you complete along the way can have real consequences on the main story later. Combat is the real star here. You choose from 9 vocations like Fighter, Strider, Mage, and Mystic Knight, each with totally different playstyles. Final Fantasy X-10-2 remains one of the most iconic JRPGs, and this remaster brings both FF10 and its sequel, FF10-2, together in one package. FF10 follows Tidus, a confident young athlete suddenly thrown into the world of Spira, where the destructive force known as Sin has haunted humanity for generations. He joins Yuna and her guardians on a journey filled with emotional moments, deep character bonds, and revelations that gradually reshape your understanding of the world. Combat uses the conditional turn-based system, letting you clearly see turn order and swap characters strategically. Progression is handled through the sphere grid, offering flexible character growth paths. FF10-2 takes a lighter approach, following Yuna with a fast-paced job system that allows mid-battle role changes. With updated visuals and a refined soundtrack, this collection delivers a complete and memorable experience. Chained Echoes was made by one person, solo developer Matthias Linda, and it took him 7 years to finish. The result is one of the best JRPGs on Switch, full stop. The story is set on the continent of Volandis, where 3 kingdoms have been at war for so long, it's basically all anyone has ever known. A massive magical explosion at the start of the game forces a desperate peace, but that peace doesn't last, and your group of mercenaries, nobles, and outcasts get pulled into an assassination plot that threatens to reignite the whole war. Glenn is your main character, an ace pilot of giant mech suits called Sky Armors, and over the course of the adventure, you build a party of 12 characters, each with real backstories, personal motivations, and believable reasons for being there. Combat is turn-based and uses the overdrive system, which is one of the most original mechanics in the genre. The fact that The Witcher 3 runs on Nintendo Switch at all still feels like some kind of miracle, and while it's clearly not as sharp as on PC or modern consoles, the game underneath is so good, it barely matters. You play as Geralt of Rivia, a monster hunter called a Witcher, who travels the vast and war-torn northern kingdoms searching for his adopted daughter, Ciri. The world is huge, 2 major open regions plus the city-state of Novigrad, and it's filled with side quests that are written as well as most games' main stories. Combat mixes fast sword attacks with defensive parries, 5 different magic signs that can set enemies on fire, knock them back, or create shields, and crossbow shots and bombs that let you prepare for different types of monsters. The Complete Edition includes both the Blood and Wine and Hearts of Stone expansions, which add dozens more hours and some of the best quest writing in the whole game. Dark Souls Remastered on Switch is not for everyone, and it knows that. This is From Software's 2011 action RPG, and it redefined what difficulty in games could feel like. You play as an undead warrior who wakes up in a decaying kingdom called Lordran, with almost no explanation of why you're there or what you're supposed to do. The story is delivered almost entirely through item descriptions, environmental details, and brief NPC conversations rather than cutscenes, so the lore rewards players who pay close attention. Combat is deliberate and weighty. Every swing of your sword costs stamina, every hit needs to be timed, and enemies can absolutely kill you if you get careless. The game is structured around bonfires that act as checkpoints, and when you die, you drop all your souls, the in-game currency, at the spot where you fell. You can recover them if you reach that spot again, but die on the way there, and they're gone. Live Alive was originally released in Japan in 1994 and never came to the West until Nintendo published this HD 2D remake in 2022. It was made by the same director as Chrono Trigger, and once you play it, you can feel exactly where some of Chrono Trigger's ideas came from. The game starts by presenting you with 7 completely separate scenarios set in different time periods: prehistoric times, ancient China, feudal Japan, the American Wild West, the 1970s, the near future, and the far future. You can play them in any order you want. Each scenario has its own protagonist with their own story, and each one plays differently. The Edo Japan chapter has you playing as a ninja who can hide from enemies and is haunted by a growing kill count. The near future chapter gives you a psychic kid who can read the minds of everyone around him. The far future chapter stars a robot on a spaceship, where the tension slowly builds into something that feels more like a horror movie.
Let's suck it!
Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is a massive JRPG from Monolith Soft, and easily one of the most ambitious games on Switch. The world of Ionios is locked in a perpetual war between 2 nations, Kevs and Agnes, where soldiers only live for 10 years before their life force is consumed by massive machines on the battlefield. You follow Noah and Mio, soldiers from opposite sides who end up working together after a strange event reveals the truth behind the war they've been fighting all their lives. The story goes deep. It deals with mortality, the purpose of a short life, memory, and what it means to fight for something real versus something you've been told to fight for. The cast of 6 main party members is one of the strongest in the Xenoblade series, and each character gets meaningful development over the 60 to 100-hour story. Trails in the Sky First Chapter is a full remake of the 2004 JRPG that started one of the most beloved RPG series of all time. It released on Switch in September 2025, and it's both the perfect entry point for newcomers and a genuine love letter for longtime fans of the franchise. You play as Estelle Bright, a headstrong young woman, and her adoptive brother Joshua, as they set out to become full-fledged Bracers members of a peacekeeping guild that handles everything from monster extermination to missing persons cases. What starts as a coming-of-age road trip across the kingdom of Liberal gradually evolves into a much larger conspiracy involving their missing father and the political forces shaping the world around them. The storytelling is meticulous. Every NPC in the game has a name, a routine, and dialogue that actually changes as the story progresses, making the world feel unusually alive for an RPG. Bravely Default 2 feels like a classic JRPG reborn with modern design. You follow Seth, a sailor who washes ashore in a strange land, and teams up with Gloria, Elvis, and Adele to restore 4 elemental crystals threatening the world's balance. The story starts familiar, but gradually builds tension between kingdoms, leading to smart twists that keep things engaging. The core of the game is its flexible job system, letting each character equip 2 roles at once and mix abilities freely, opening the door to creative builds and experimentation. The Brave and Default system adds depth to combat, allowing you to store turns or spend them aggressively for powerful bursts, making every decision matter. Boss fights are especially demanding, pushing you to fully understand your setup. With its strong art style, memorable music, and rewarding progression, it captures the spirit of classic JRPGs while feeling fresh and strategic. Persona 5 Royal stands out as one of the most stylish JRPGs, blending sharp presentation with deep systems. You play as a high school student transferred to Tokyo, balancing daily life while uncovering a hidden world where he and his friends awaken to personas, manifestations of their inner rebellion. Together, they become the Phantom Thieves, entering surreal palaces shaped by the distorted desires of corrupt adults to change their hearts. The game constantly shifts between life simulation and dungeon crawling, attending school, building relationships through confidants, and managing your time carefully to grow stronger. These bonds unlock abilities that directly impact combat and exploration. Battles focus on exploiting enemy weaknesses, chaining attacks, and executing flashy, all-out attacks. Persona Fusion adds another layer, letting you customize your strategy in meaningful ways.
Go down!
Dragon Quest XI's delivers that classic JRPG feel with a sense of charm and consistency that carries it from beginning to end. You play as the Luminary, a young hero revealed to be the reincarnation of a legendary figure, only to be branded a threat and forced to leave his home behind. The adventure unfolds across a vast world filled with unique regions, colorful towns, and a cast of companions that each bring personality and depth to the journey. The story follows a familiar structure at first, but evolves in a way that shifts the tone and raises the stakes in a meaningful way. Combat is traditional turn-based, focused on smart party management, character abilities, and the pep system that builds momentum for powerful moves. The S version enhances the experience with an orchestrated soundtrack, optional 16-bit mode, added character stories, and extra content that expands the world, making it a complete and welcoming RPG experience. Disco Elysium stands apart as one of the most unconventional RPGs ever made, focusing entirely on dialogue, choice, and consequence rather than traditional combat. You play as a detective who wakes up with no memory of his identity, slowly piecing together his past alongside his calm and grounded partner, Kim Kitsuragi, while investigating a murder in the worn-down district of Martinez. The game's depth comes from its skill system, where 24 different abilities act like voices in your head, influencing how you think, speak, and react to the world. Every conversation becomes a layered exchange shaped by your choices, with dice rolls determining outcomes, yet even failure leads to new paths rather than dead ends. You define your character's personality, beliefs, and approach through these decisions, making each playthrough feel personal. With its rich atmosphere, sharp writing, and full voice acting in the final cut, it delivers a deeply immersive and unforgettable experience. Kingdom Come Deliverance takes a rare approach for an RPG by fully committing to historical realism. Set in 1403 Bohemia, during a real civil conflict, you play as Henry, a blacksmith's son whose life is shattered when his village is destroyed. He starts with no real skills, forcing you to grow into the role over time by learning combat, speech, and survival step by step. Progression feels grounded, with stats directly affecting what you can achieve and how others respond to you. Combat is slow and deliberate, based on directional strikes and timing, rewarding patience over button mashing. Beyond fighting, you manage hunger, rest, and even cleanliness, which impacts social interactions. Quests offer multiple approaches, from persuasion to stealth or direct confrontation, giving you freedom in how you solve problems. With its detailed world and demanding systems, it offers a challenging but deeply immersive experience that rewards commitment.
Unicorn Overlord is a tactical RPG from Vanillaware that blends classic fantasy storytelling with a unique strategic twist. You follow Elaine, a young prince fighting to reclaim his kingdom after it falls to a former ally commanding an undead army. Along the journey, you recruit a wide range of characters from different nations, each with their own stories and loyalty missions that expand the world naturally. Gameplay mixes real-time movement on a large overworld with automated battles that rely heavily on preparation. You organize squads, position them across battlefields, and define their behavior through a detailed tactic system, where even small decisions can shape the outcome of fights. The depth comes from experimenting with team compositions and refining strategies, rather than reacting in real time. With its distinct art style, strong soundtrack, and a long, content-rich campaign, it delivers a fresh and rewarding take on the tactical RPG formula.
Ready yourself.
You'll see no harm!
Pokémon Legends Arceus reimagines the series by shifting the focus toward exploration and discovery. Set in the Hisui region, an ancient version of Sinnoh, you play as a researcher tasked with building the first Pokédex at a time when humans and Pokémon barely understand each other. Instead of following a traditional route structure, you explore open areas where Pokémon behave dynamically. Some flee, others attack, and some cautiously observe you. Capturing is seamless, allowing you to throw Pokéballs directly in the field or engage in battles when needed. Completing the Pokédex involves more than catching, requiring you to study behaviors and fulfill specific conditions. Combat evolves with a turn order system influenced by agile and strong style moves, adding a layer of strategy. Occasional boss encounters bring a more action-driven feel. While not flawless technically, it stands out as one of the series' most refreshing and ambitious entries. Fire Emblem Three Houses blends tactical RPG combat with a strong social simulation layer, creating a deeply engaging experience. You play as Byleth, a mercenary-turned-professor at the Officers' Academy, where you guide students from one of 3 rival nations. Your choice of house shapes the entire story, determining allies, enemies, and how the conflict unfolds. The narrative is split into 2 parts, a slower academy phase focused on building relationships and training students, followed by a darker wartime arc that raises the stakes significantly. Teaching mechanics let you customize each student's growth, influencing their abilities and roles in battle. Combat is grid-based and strategic, emphasizing positioning, terrain, and class strengths, while systems like gambits add extra tactical options. Building bonds through daily activities and conversations strengthens your units and adds emotional weight to the story, making every decision feel impactful across multiple playthroughs. Octopath Traveler II builds on the foundation of the original and refines nearly every system. Set in Celestia, a world split between industrial progress and traditional culture, the story follows 8 protagonists, each with their own journey, tone, and motivations. Their stories feel distinct, from personal revenge to ambition and discovery, and the crossing paths moments bring meaningful interactions that add depth to the cast. Combat centers around the boost and break system, where exploiting enemy weaknesses to shatter defenses creates openings for powerful attacks, rewarding careful planning and timing. Outside of battle, each character offers unique path actions tied to day and night, letting you interact with the world in different ways and uncover hidden opportunities. The HD2D presentation is more refined, with improved lighting and atmosphere that make every location stand out.
What's our plan of attack? My spirit shall strike!
Dragon Quest I and II HD 2D Remake brings 2 foundational JRPGs back with a level of care that makes them feel fresh while preserving their legacy. Dragon Quest I follows a lone hero, descendant of Erdrick, on a focused journey to defeat the Dragon Lord and restore light to Alefgard, now expanded with richer storytelling, new scenes, and deeper character moments that add real emotional weight. Dragon Quest II shifts to a broader adventure, with 3 descendants exploring a larger world to stop a rising threat, enhanced here with new areas, improved pacing, and stronger character interactions that elevate the experience. Both games use the HD 2D style to blend detailed pixel characters with beautifully lit 3D environments, giving the world a handcrafted feel. Quality of life improvements like clearer guidance and smoother progression make them more accessible, while classic turn-based combat remains intact, offering a refined look at where the genre truly began. And that's the list. 20 incredible RPGs across every style, every tone, and every scale the genre has to offer. Whether you're jumping into a 30-hour indie gem or committing to a 100-hour epic, the Switch has you covered. Drop a comment letting me know which one you're playing right now, or which one you think deserved a higher spot. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. More gaming content coming soon.